Your worker shows up 20 minutes late to work each day looking stressed out. An employee has come forward and said that they're battling anxiety and they've requested certain accommodations to their schedule and their duties. You've heard rumors and seen maybe some signs that an employee is battling a substance abuse issue at work. While these three scenarios are very different, what if I told you that the conversation you'll have with your employee is largely the same? This is Brendan Rolfe with the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. Let's get busy. Challenging conversations with your staff is an inevitability in today's workplace. The lines that used to exist separating home from the workplace are not only blurred, they're invisible now. And there is actually an expectation from the courts as well that employers take steps necessary to accommodate and support employees who are having issues outside of work that may leak into their work performance. The important thing to remember is that there are three foundational elements to having these challenging discussions with your employee. 1, supportive frame. 2, active listening. 3, take notes and adjust accordingly. Let's talk about that first element. And let's use our first example of your employee showing up to work late each day. Now, as an employer or a manager, you're probably extremely frustrated, and in your mind, you're thinking, how hard is it to show up on time? Well, what you need to actually do is dig deeper into the reasoning behind their lateness. So let's say, for example, your employee is 20 minutes late every day because they are dropping their child off at childminding or daycare, and they have no other options in terms of having their child cared for throughout the day. We've actually seen the court say that it's a duty to accommodate for the employer where possible in order to support the family needs and family status, such as single parenthood or not having proper care for a child if it doesn't exist. Second example, let's look at an employee who has come forward and identified a mental health issue such as anxiety, where they've asked for accommodations and or support. Again, this is an area protected by the Human Rights Code. And what we should do as an employer is ask for more information. Now, this leads us to the second point, is ask questions. As an employer, you do have a right to information and potentially sensitive medical information that can help you and allow you to support and accommodate your employee who has come forward making the request. Ask the questions and then listen with that supportive frame. What this involves, of course, is active listening, and you can dig deeper, but also show sympathetic movements, adjustments, and responses when your employee is telling you what's happening. Which leads us to the third point, take notes. This is extremely important, not just because it's a great reference tool for down the road between yourself and your employee to see what was said and maybe what supports were asked for, but also if the relationship sours and you do end up going to court, the courts are going to want to see documentation to show that as an employer, you practice your due diligence and practice your duty to accommodate to a satisfactory level. If we look at our third example, which is where we suspect that our employee may have a substance abuse problem, either via rumors or via their own activities, employers do have a duty to accommodate that addiction if it exists. So how I would have that conversation with my employee is I'd be very forthright. And I would say, we've noticed some safety issues that you've been having at work, or perhaps there's alcohol, the smell of alcohol in their breath as you come forward and you just say it. It's not a comfortable conversation to have, but you do need to be forthright. You can follow that up with saying, do you have a substance abuse problem or do you have an addiction? If they identify with an addiction, then they do have a duty to go seek help, and you need to keep their job available for them to return to once they've completed rehab. If they say no, they do not, then you need to find other ways to support them, but also to warn them that future use at work or use that impacts their work could lead to termination or disciplinary measures. So to review, how are you going to have that challenging discussion with your staff member today? 1, you're going to use a supportive frame. 2, you're going to ask questions and actively listen. And 3, you're going to document the discussion and make the necessary changes, supports, or accommodations where you see fit.
Hi, I'm Beatrix Abdulaziz, Policy Analyst at CFIB. Please like and subscribe to stay up to date on our initiatives, and consider joining us at CFIB-FCEI to see why we're in business for your business.